We're live. Welcome to the Rome Show. I'm your host, Go Rome TV, and today I got another special guest. Amy, how you doing?
Great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good. I appreciate you for taking time coming on the podcast.
Was that applause?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Well, Amy, let's start here. What moment in your life cracked everything open and pushed you into being an advocate?
Okay, you're not wasting any time. You're getting right in there. I think really it's frustration and anger that fueled me to get started because it's what didn't happen with my sister's ovarian cancer and uterine cancer diagnosis. Um, and once I learned that certain tests, BRCA1 and BRCA2 tests had been around for 12 years, when she was diagnosed and no one connected the dots, I got angry. Like, why wasn't anyone recommending genetic counseling and genetic testing to her? So really what got me into advocacy was anger at what didn't happen in a medical scenario within my family, and frustration when I learned, oh my gosh, this information is actually out there. And these world-class physicians, while they're saving my sister's life, they weren't connecting the dots on the other important pieces. So I was frustrated and angry, so I felt I needed to start being that connector of the dots.
That's a very sad, interesting story.
Yeah.
Um, in that journey, were you by yourself from day to day pushing through that to get to where you are now, or did you have support?
You mean in terms of advocacy?
Yeah, the whole thing, like what was
Yeah.
going on in life.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was really me. I'm pretty independent, and I had gone through a medical scenario myself years before. And so it's like I'm a researcher by nature, a researcher. And I grew up, I was very competitive. I was an athlete. And so I was very competitive, and I think it was that drive of wanting to win and wanting to, be the best, and wanting to achieve whatever that was, that kept me just going. And also just, I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't. Like, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't. That's just sort of my personality. I feel like, if I feel something strongly. So, I was pretty much on my own, um, with my advocacy and trying to find out where just doing as much as I can. And then eventually segued into what my strengths were, what I felt after doing a lot of support. I support people on a daily basis. I put out information, but it really segued into what are my strengths and how can I educate, entertain, and empower people on a maximum level. And for me, that was writing my story, becoming an author, and then delving into film, where you can get storytelling and have a greater impact, having people, see that on screen. And especially men, because men are very visual people. And I thought, ooh, let's educate men in that way.
Right? And that's a good one. And you're not just an advocate. So, you didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be an advocate. You're
Right.
also an author and a producer. What did the messy middle look like before things started to make sense?
Well, you mean between, let's see, I was going through my own medical surgeries. I mean, I had prophylactic surgeries after my sister was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and uterine cancer, and we found out that there was a BRCA1 gene mutation in our family. Subsequently, I went through counseling and testing, learned I was positive, and I spent, a few years. I went researching that and then going through surgeries. Then I had another surgery that was an emergency surgery, related but unrelated. So I guess my messy middle of starting from advocacy to segueing into, kind of what I'm doing now was really just experiencing all of this stuff, which really, I wish I didn't have to go through it, but it makes me a better advocate. It makes me more empathetic, makes me understand patient experiences more. Um, so I guess, and it's not over. I still have doctor's appointments and everything. So my messy middle really isn't over yet. I still am in it, I guess you could say.
And do you believe the messy middle? Do you believe that it lasts? It's just a part of life, and you're always constantly jumping through the obstacles, or do you believe it goes away, and at some point you're at some type of good balance?
I think, I mean, I think it's also just a state of mind. Everyone has bad things that happen to them, you know. In life, every family has their own situation, every person has their own situation. You know, I try to look at things when something bad happens, or this, messy middle, as you're calling it. I mean, obviously, there can be grief involved in being upset, but I try to look at things from as an opportunity. That's how I try to view things. Um, how can I make sense of what has happened? How can I turn this around and flip flop? You know, the cliche of turning, lemons into lemonade. I mean, I guess it's cliche, but that's kind of how I try to view things.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good one.
And there's a lot of talk about finding your voice. Um,
Yeah.
what did it actually take for you to stop being quiet and start speaking up, even when it felt uncomfortable? Or were you
Oh,
always
yeah. Not a lot. It didn't take a lot. I'm not really shy. I'm actually much more comfortable speaking amongst a group than I even am like one on one with you. Like, I would be fine. You put me on stage, I'm fine. I'm comfortable. Uh, so it didn't take a lot for me. I think, growing up as an athlete, growing up, I was in the theater. So I was, out there. I was always, president of student council. I was kind of like that classic overachiever. Um, so, that is served me well at being an advocate, but there is such thing as advocate fatigue and burnout. So you do have to take care of yourself. And you can be like, yes, I'm going to speak up and out, and I'm going to book this, I'm going to do that, but I've learned to say no. Definitely learned to say no, and you got to take care of yourself. It's really important.
right? And speaking of taking care of yourself and burnout, you know, you being a advocate, an author, and a producer could be emotionally heavy. What's something people don't see, like the fail, the fear, or the doubts that you had to learn to manage?
Wow. I don't even know where to start with that one. You know what? Can you please say that again so I can answer it fully?
So basically, you don't just do one thing, advocate, author,
Yeah.
producer, which can be emotionally heavy.
Hmm.
What's something people don't see, the fails, the fear, or the doubts
Oh,
that you had to learn to manage?
oh my gosh. Well, it took me 8 years to write a book. That wasn't necessarily fun, and lots of nights of agony, and then throwing, I print stuff out. I think I was done, and then throwing complete chapters out. Um, on the film project I just did, Love Danielle, that was a 7-year project. So, you know, the constant emails, the constant phone calls, I mean, it's tough, and it takes a toll on your home life and your family life too. My husband even said, "When am I going to get you back?" Um, you know, uh, so I finally started, I'm cooking again. I'm kind of doing more home stuff now. It's hard to do it all and do it all well. I mean, people can do it all, but you're not going to do everything well. So it's just it's been challenging, but so fulfilling, so fulfilling. So I would say just the length of time, but you know, I, I'm I guess I do have perfectionistic tendencies, but I also know that I have a gut instinct that, like my book and the film, they weren't going to be done until they were done, until I felt like in my core that they were right and they were what people needed to hear and what people needed to see from, my perspective.
Right. And how do you balance? Like, do you get time to yourself, or you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that? Like, do you make sure you get
Yeah.
time to yourself?
I need to work on that. I definitely need to work on that. I'm invigorated by what I do because, like, this is invigorating to me just speaking with you because I feel like any chance I can speak up and speak out is that opportunity I was talking about. And, but yes, I need to do things for myself. I've been trying to go on longer walks with my dog. Should I go, I'm trying, like, I need to go do something like self care. I need to go, maybe go get a pedicure or something, manicure. I need to focus on that stuff more because that's always like, we always take care of ourselves last. Um, and that is not good. You have to take care of yourself as an advocate. So I'm constantly working to achieve that balance. Definitely.
Yeah, self-care is key.
Yeah, it's key because you can't be there for anyone else unless you're taking care of yourself and there for yourself, and at your best self.
Right. And you've turned pain into purpose. Was there a moment when you realized your story could help someone else heal?
Oh yeah, almost immediately. Almost immediately when after my sister's ovarian and uterine cancer diagnosis, and once I found out the genetic component, I started kind of journaling everything I was learning and researching, and that's when I said, "Ugh, there's nothing out here like this." I It was the book I wish I had when I was finding out everything. So really immediately, because I think I'm a writer by nature, I studied music and songwriting, years ago, in college, and even back in high school, middle school, like I was always writing. I was writing was sort of my, it was my outlet. It was how I got my emotions out. So for me, it was almost instantaneous, definitely. And with our film that we just did, there were certain things I was passionate about implementing that weren't in the original script, and so we did implement those, which was really important to me to get those written in there, those certain key scenes.
Nice, nice. And you said book, congratulations, and you also said film.
Yeah.
So you have a book out and a movie out. Congratulations.
Applause. I love that.
Big things. So let's start with the book.
Yeah.
What's the name of your book? Where can they purchase it?
Oh, I usually always have a copy right here. Why don't I just do that? Oh, I do. I have it right here. I'm gonna go get it. It's called Resurrection Lily. I'm gonna go grab it.
Okay. Resurrection, really.
Okay. So this isn't the reprint because I don't know where I put the reprint copy, but this is basically the cover. Resurrection Lily. Um that's anywhere books are sold, online, wherever. I'm not going to name the big place everyone goes. But it's available there.
Nice.
Available, and yeah, it's called Resurrection Lily, and that's basically my story. And I don't want to really talk about it too much because I want to make people go get the book. There's also an audiobook version that's really, like, sometimes it's even free, so people can check it out there. And it's anyone wanting to learn about hereditary cancer, or if there's cancer in your family and you think there might be a genetic component, it's a good read. And also, if you're just looking for a memoir, I try to infuse humor in it, because it's such a serious subject matter, and it's kind of my personality to be kind of silly sometimes. So um, that was really important to me to, you know, just show who I am, be as authentic as I can be. And yeah, so it's been out for a while, but it still gets traction, because people keep finding it. And my doctors actually, they give it out in their offices to people. I give them a big stack, because that's important to me, and let others in my community know that I'm here if they want to talk to me.
Right. And can you hold the book up one more time?
Sure. Yeah. Resurrection Lily.
Here you go. That's a nice book. Are you excited about, having that out?
Oh yeah. Are you? Yeah, because people say, so wait, what's your story? And I'm like, well, here you go, read the book. Um, it is because, like I said, it's for me, I'm able to give a resource to people that is what I wish I had when I initially had found out about the gene mutation in my family, because I had searched and there was one book out there that wasn't exactly like this, but it was a story. And that was the only way I knew how to explain to friends and family what it is I was going through. So I ordered that book and I sent it to a bunch of people. Great book. It's called Pretty Is What Changes by Jessica Queller. But so I'm thrilled to have this resource for people that, you know, it's it's not, you know, in lieu of going to a doctor or a physician's expertise, although, but it's helpful. And I do have expert commentary by my doctors and certified genetic counselor. Ellen Matloff is my expert genetic counselor in the book. So I do have those experts weighing in alongside my story. So I think that's really helpful for people.
Nice, nice. So go get the book. It
Go
sounds
get
like
the
a
book.
good one.
Yeah.
And so let's get to the film. You got a new film out.
All right. Yeah. Love Danielle. So Love Danielle is really the first scripted feature film that tackles the decisions and issues faced by a BRCA gene mutation carrier, who does not have cancer, otherwise known as a previvor. So a previvor, I'm sure everyone's heard of a survivor, you know, but a previvor is someone who has a very high risk of developing cancer, whether due to a gene mutation, you know, other predisposing factor, just family history, and but does not have cancer. And so, what do you do with that information? So that's what the film is about. Is here you have this high risk of cancer. What are your decisions? What is right for you? And so the movie really explores the character Danielle, and played brilliantly by Devin Seidel, who is the lead actress, co-writer, and producer of the film. And it's based on her story, on her personal story, real story. So it really, the film, it really just highlights BRCA, kind of what it means, but it's not a documentary. It's a feature film. We've got humor, laughter, great performances. We've got, I mean, Jamie King, Leslie Ann Warren, Barry Bostwick, Raymond Cruz. If you watch Breaking Bad, in a, I mean, he's in a role that is a 180 from Tuco in Breaking Bad. So if you're curious at all, just watch it for that, because that scene is excellent, and really, dispels stigma around men's health, um, which is, I love that scene for that, because you've got this, macho guy sitting in a waiting room waiting to get a mammogram. I love that. Like, changes the narrative. So that's pretty much the film, and it's out in North America, VOD, video on demand, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, other digital platforms. So please go watch it, and if you like it, let us know, or rate it somewhere. We would love that, because
Right.
these films are
Cool.
hard. indie film's hard, and especially a cancer film. Like, oh yes, like everyone's like, oh, it's Friday night. Let's go watch a cancer film. I mean, that's not what people typically want to do. And that's why we really tried to make it an entertaining, funny, um, real depiction while slowly trickling in those, educational components. And that was really challenging. That's why it took so long, like 7 years. But I think we did achieve it in the end.
Nice. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go watch it. Wow, it took 7 years to make.
Yeah. It did. Yeah, please watch and then let me know because I really be curious your thoughts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely will. And are you relieved that it's out now?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, we're working on our international distribution now. So once you think it's over, is it really over? Not really. So we're working on that now, and it's what's really satisfying is that we've been able to do private screenings with whether it's a medical center or an organization, a cancer organization. We have one coming up with the Society of Gynecologic Oncology. So providers and not just patients are seeing this film, and it's really giving them, enlightening them. My own doctor who saw, my own OBGYN who saw this film was like, came up to me after the screening that we had here locally and was like, oh my gosh, Amy, I've been doing this 1,000 years. I've been treating patients 1,000 years. And this film, you enlightened me. This film enlightened me. Like, wow. So that to me is a huge win too.
Yeah. Nice. I definitely gotta check it out. And if I'm not mistaken, when we was originally gonna do this interview,
Yeah.
was that the lead actor you were gonna bring on?
Yes, Devin. Yeah, unfortunately, she had a conflict. Working actress, you get a job, you got to take a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. She really, I mean, look, she's an actress. She's been acting since she was a young child. Um, and she's just an excellent actress, period. But then to see her step into this role, which is, it's based on our own story, but we take liberties because it has to be an entertaining film as well. But she's just outstanding. Her vulnerability, and the scenes with Jamie King, um, are my favorites. Their sister bond is incredible. They just have this natural chemistry about them. So I would say those scenes really are my favorites because their acting is just like supreme, and their chemistry was off the rails.
Yeah. We gotta do a part two and talk about how it was making a movie.
Oh yeah. Okay, sure. Let's do that.
Yeah. And I got a couple more. Um, you as an author and a producer, how do you decide which stories must be told, especially when they're hard or controversial?
Ooh. Hmm. Well, for me, I mean, look, I felt like my passion is around this subject matter, hereditary cancer and genetics. So, but I think that's a really good point because not all stories are going to speak to you necessarily. Um, my story, I think it's more, gosh, I really want to answer this thoughtfully. So I'm taking a minute here. Uh, Can I live with this story not being told? I think that's more the question. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what is, uh, can, is this that important? How much energy is this going to take? Can I personally live with not telling the story? If the answer is no, then I know I got to dive in. If the answer is yes, then maybe it's the heart of that story maybe isn't quite there and where it needs to be. Um, there's also a process when you're working with a script and writing a book. Um, this relates to what you're talking about a little bit is you might have a fantastic chapter that you think is amazing or a fantastic scene, but is it adding to the story? Is it taking away from the story? You have to be able to not hold something so precious that you can't get away, throw it away for the benefit of the story. You got to be willing to like get rid of this great scene or this great chapter if it doesn't move a story forward. And I think that is something I've really learned.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
And let's talk impact. What's one message or moment from someone you hope that confirmed this work matters?
Oh, wow. Every time someone reads my book or I get a random DM or something, oh my gosh, I just read your book and I was feeling so alone. This helped me feel not so alone. Um, just that, even with the movie, we get the same comments. We've had women come up to us at screenings crying, saying, oh my gosh, how did you do that? That's like my experience. I feel so seen. We have men who come up to us and say, I had no idea men could get breast cancer. No clue. Thank you for enlightening me. Um, and we have parents or older generations coming up saying, my gosh, this could have been what's going on in my family. We had so much cancer. I mean, it just any time that the movie resonates and connects the dots for somebody in some way and we get any sort of feedback, I mean that's amazing. That's amazing. You want it to resonate in some way and that's going to be different for everybody.
Good one. Good one. And a lot of people feel called to do more, but feel stuck, scared, or overwhelmed. What's the first brave step you think they should take?
Can you repeat that one more time? I didn't totally hear you on that one.
A lot of people out there feel called to like do more, but they may feel stuck, scared, or overwhelmed. What's the first brave step you think they should take?
Huh, in anything, or you think in terms of doing something creative?
Something creative.
Um, I, you know, I don't know. Do you remember that first time you learned to ride a bike? You were probably really scared, and then you probably, um, what do you have to lose? Quite honestly, the first things you write might, you know, be terrible. They might suck. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. But you put pen to paper or you put, hands to the keyboard. I think you got to get out whatever you're feeling. And then crafting is a whole separate thing. And maybe you just get out what you're feeling and not try to judge yourself. That's a first brave step is just start writing extemporaneously, not even thinking about it. That's what I do sometimes. And then go back and then you can craft it. Um, you know, who is this for? What do I want to say? Is this hitting home? But you got to start from a place of being authentic. And I just say, what's the worst thing that could happen to you? You write something and it's terrible. Okay, fine, whatever. Sometimes you cook dinner and it's awful. Whatever. You make another dinner, it's going to be better. So that first step is really hard with anything. Um, knowing your self-worth is really important. Knowing that, having confidence. And I don't know how to give somebody confidence, but sometimes you just have to do something and then get the confidence later.
Right.
you
Just
know,
got to do it.
you just got to do it.
Right. And if you could sit across from the version of you before all of this, before the advocate, before the books, and before the production work, what would you tell her?
Oh, wow. You thought what you went through a few years ago was hard. Just wait. No. Um, let's see. I have to put myself back in those shoes. It makes sense that it would be you having to do all this. It makes sense. I think that the way that I grew up being and very much out there, very gregarious and social, and being an athlete and being involved in the theater. Um, I think that it was such a great preparation. And so I feel like I would tell her, yeah, you know what? You got this. You were made for this. This is, it's not going to be easy. You're going to be pulling your hair out at times. But, you got this.
Right, good one. And if someone was to read your book, watch a
Mhm.
movie, and
Yeah.
what's one thing that you would tell them to take from your story?
Yeah. This is instantaneous. I know this immediately. So the first thing I would say is, well, first thing I'd say, hey, did you like it? I hope you liked it. I hope something resonated with you. But secondly, you really have any inkling from what you just saw or from what you read that the cancer in your family may be hereditary. The best thing that you can do is number one, start writing everything down, all your family medical history, um, and really go to the most qualified, reach out, speak to in person or by phone. There's telehealth now. The most qualified provider who can assess your cancer risk, order appropriate genetic testing panels, if any, and almost most importantly, interpret those genetic test results. And that person would be a certified genetic counselor because they are the most qualified to do that. Um, so I would say if you take one thing away, really reach out to somebody who can walk you through it because genetic counseling, the other thing is people get very scared of genetic testing. And I understand that. And I always say, well, let's forget about genetic testing for a while. Go have a conversation. And just because you go to see or speak to a genetic counselor doesn't mean you have to undergo genetic testing. What the genetic counselor will do is walk you through everything, what they might test you for, and what that might mean for you and your family. And then ultimately, you have autonomy. You can make that decision for yourself, what's best for you. And every, patient, has their own story, has their own um, what they know feels right for them, but at least be educated and empowered by the most qualified healthcare professional. That is what I would say.
Good one. That was powerful right there. That was a good one.
Okay, good.
Now, once again, I appreciate you for taking time out coming on the podcast. I will be
Of
promoting this
course.
episode like crazy.
Excellent. Any other
We gotta set,
questions?
we gotta set up
Is
that part
that it?
two. I got one more question. Um,
Okay.
I like to spread positivity and motivational stuff and be is inspiring. What's one inspirational thing you could say that could go for men and women?
Mm. Well, I'm always a fan of Maya Angelou quotes. She's my favorite. When people take care of their health, they become their own best friend. So, yeah,
I like that.
that's yeah, I'll leave you with that, I guess. Um, yeah, that would be an inspirational quote, I guess. There are so many. I don't. It's hard to decide.
When you start taking care of your own health, you become your own best friend.
Yeah, it's actually that's in my book somewhere. I gotta find where it is because I do have quotes in there. If I can quote it correctly. I don't know if you're editing this or not, or if
Yeah,
this is
I'll
just
chop it
going.
up.
Um, yeah, I gotta find. I can quote it exactly because I know I have it in here somewhere. But of course, the minute I need it, it's not there. Um, I'm looking. As long as you're editing, I'm just gonna look still. Oh,
Yeah.
this is a good one too. This is another Maya quote. She's my favorite because what a way with words she had. Amazing. I love this one because this really relates to hereditary cancer too. History,
Okay.
despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's probably I love that because that really says so much. But I don't think my other anyway, those are probably the two. And I know my other Maya quotes in there somewhere, but I can't find it. I think I just said it before though.
So gotta get the book. So go get the book.
Gotta get the book. You want me? I can send you a copy if you want. You don't have to buy it.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. I'll read it.
Okay. Or actually, if you
All
buy
right.
it, maybe I'll make 3 cents.
I'll buy one.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. I appreciate it. So we gotta set up that part 2 soon. And once again, I
Okay.
appreciate you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Look forward to it.
All right. Peace.
Okay. Thanks. Peace.